welcome to Moment of Truth. Today on Moment of Truth, we'll be talking about financial freedom. My name is Nadia Sean and my co-host.
I'm David Chibodi.
And we have our wonderful guest here. Our wonderful guest who is also not new to the program, but will give an opportunity to introduce himself to our audience.
Yeah, I'm Alexander Lavi Mensa. I'm glad to be on this show. It's always a privilege to come on this show. Since we're talking about financial management, I think I would like to mention my background in finance. I'm an analyst with one of the financial institutions in this country. For the sake of our discussion, not to be the opinion of my institution, I prefer to keep the name of my institution out.
Right.
But basically, I work as an analyst with one of the financial institutions in this country.
Awesome. Thank you so much, our elder, and of course, it's always an honor to have you here. But we're talking about financial freedom. One of the hardest things about Christian is that when you think about finance, people just say pray. But we want to say that there's more to prayers. God have given us wisdom. So we'll ask our elder, when you talk about financial management, what does it mean when you say financial management?
So definitely the principles of management focuses on the effective and efficient use of resources, right? And so when you relate it to finance, basically the emphasis is on how you manage your finance efficiently and effectively. Yeah. So that would be the brief definition of financial management.
Thank you. So our topic is financial freedom, and we're talking about financial management. So can you tell us what you think, how you feel about financial freedom? What do you think about it?
All right. So that's a good one there. We all have goals in life. We all have certain aspirations in life. There are things that we make decisions at a point in time that, oh, I wish I could do this, or I'm going to do this, or I like to do this. But at the end of the day, if you are able to make a decision and then you are able to provide the financial resources you need to achieve that decision, under no stress, then we say
No
financial freedom, right? So the emphasis is where you make decisions comfortably and you are able to achieve the decision you have made with no burden as to where am I going to get the financial resources or being under stress, right? And then another word you can use is independence, where the individual has independence when it comes to the issue of finance. Yeah. So that is what the brief way I can explain financial freedom. And though that also, coming.
When you say independence, can you just clarify what you mean by independence?
Yeah, so the independence is where you made a decision, right? And then because you have worked towards it, you are able to get the resources to do what you want to do, not depending on a friend or someone. Because if the person is not able to give you what you want, it means you are not able to achieve that purpose or that focus.
Independence.
So financial independence is where, and then let me put this caveat there. It doesn't also mean that if you are financially independent, it means you are free from debt, right?
Yes. Tell us about it.
Yes, it doesn't mean that way. It means that whatever decision you make, whatever you try to achieve, you are able to get the resources with no stress, right? Okay. And so I think last week you spoke about credits, right? Definitely if your credit record is good, right? Your FICO score is good, then you have access to money, right, to do what you want to do. And you don't feel that stress, right? Unlike instances where you intend to do something, personally you don't have the resources, and then your ability and your financial record doesn't position you in a way to be able to get help to be able to do that. Then you are not.
Then you are definitely in the bind.
Yeah, you are not free. You are not financially free.
So debt free does not really mean financial freedom. You can be debt free but not have financial freedom. But you can have financial freedom but have debt.
Yeah, you
so
can
you're
even
talking
have
about
debt.
good debt,
Exactly.
bad debt.
Yes.
How?
So how you manage your resources, right? Maybe let me take you back. So if you want to look at financial management per se, you want to start from the point where people are able to define, or the individual is able to define a goal, an objective, right? And so the thing is, and then the goal and the objective can be short term, can be long term. Short term is something that you want to do within 1 year. Long term is something beyond 1 year, right? Talking about 5 years, 10 years. So once you are able to define your goal, your vision, where you want to be in short term and long term, then now the issue comes, how do I get resources to get to my goal, to achieve my goal or my objectives, right? And so once you are able to define that, then you come back and see all the options that are available. So the options, if it requires financial resources, you know the options will be either one, from your own resources, two, from financial institution, three could be from friends and families, right?
Good luck.
That's the independent part. That's the not independent part, right?
Yeah, so that could also be, so like I'm saying, it's even the ease with which you can get the family and the friends to come
collaborate
in
and give you the resources you need.
Exactly, to do whatever you want to do. So it starts with a goal, defining your goal, your vision, and then working towards it. And definitely then it brings us back to the need to manage our resources, right?
So now we are at that point.
Exactly. So then there's a scripture I looked at in Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 29, right? It talks about somebody trying to build a tower. And it says that when the person sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it, right? Otherwise, the person will lay the foundation, will not finish the work, and people will ridicule the person. Like what the Bible says in Luke 14, 28 to 29. So it's very important we set our goals. We plan, right? We plan. What do you want to achieve in the short term and the long term? How do I get there, right? Then now it comes back to what our focus today. Like let's say you want to go to school. You want to further your education. In the next 2 years, 3 years, you want to go back to school or improve upon yourself. Then you ask yourself, how much is it going to take me to be able to go back to school or to pay my fees and graduate with whatever qualification you expect, right? So once you're able to define that, and then you see that, okay, then this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start saving towards it, or I have the liberty to take a loan. And it won't be difficult for me to get it to acquire it, right? So it has to do with planning. So once you define that, then it's easy to always work towards getting the resources. And if you yourself can get the resource, then it's always the best, right? Because it comes back to lifestyle. How are you going to achieve this, right? What do you have to cut? And what do you have to let go to be able to achieve that resource? I mean, that resources for the goal you have.
Awesome. I like the fact that, our elder is talking about, when we're talking about financial freedom, sometimes people always think about money aspect of it. They say, oh, I don't have the money. But here we're talking about there's other things that you put in place that will help you to plan towards your goals in future. So, in terms of people trying to even, let's just say, for instance, you have bad credit and you are working towards paying your credit, but you have a goal in mind. Your goal is to finish paying off your credit card and then focus on doing other things with your money. So how do we go about putting those short-term, long-term goals in place so that we'll be able to manage our resources?
Yeah, so like I said, definitely the first point is goal. Many of us don't have any goal. We just go to work, get our paycheck, and then if there is a call for something, we blow it, and then we come and wait for the next paycheck. And so we don't know where we are going.
We're living from paycheck to paycheck. That is not good.
Yeah, even if you are living from paycheck to paycheck, and it comes with a plan, it makes sense, right? But most cases, people will not make any plan. There's no objective. So he goes, take it, blow it, wait for the next paycheck, take it, blow it. And so there's no plan that this is where I want to be tomorrow. So how do I get there, right? Once that is at the back of your mind, then even when you get your paycheck and it's as little as you think, then you ask yourself, this is where I want to go. This is what I have now. What do I do to get there, right? And once you define that, it will help you to then decide. So I have something like, it comes to budgeting. I know we'll come back to that. So budgeting is where you now sit down and say that this is my focus, this is where I want to be, this is my resources that come to me every week, every 2 weeks, every month, right? So you sit down, and then in your planning, you then list all your expenses, all the things you do. Once you list all, and then you look at those items that are expenditure compared to your income, and you realize that you are in the red. Your expenditure is more than your income.
And it's so true on every level.
Exactly. Then it tells you that you need to sit up and then work your plan again. So once you sit down, one of the things you want to look at is priorities. What are your priorities, right? What are your priorities? Because if you set your priorities, then you are definitely working towards your goal. If you don't set the priorities, then anything will jump in and the money will just be spent. So it's very important we set priorities as to in our planning, where we work out our budget. The things we can cut, let's cut them. Yes, there are certain things that if we sit down to plan, you see that these things are not, you can live without them.
So they are not a priority.
Exactly. So you can let them go, right?
They are luxuries.
That is also one of them. Some of them are luxuries, and that could also be relative, though. But you always, somebody said that you always cut your coat according to your size. But somebody also said that, no, you rather want to cut your size according to your coat, right? So cutting your size according to your coat is defining that this is where I want to be, right? And then now, anything that comes to you, you see that it fit into your goal, it fit into your vision, it fit into your objective, right? Then you go. But cutting according to your size, then, hey, people can take fake sizes, right?
You don't want the coat to be too tight, so you make it big.
Exactly.
You can't afford a big coat.
They would think of themselves
As
highly more than
they
they really are, right? And once you do that, then it becomes a problem. So if you set your vision, and then you work towards your goal and your focus, definitely it brings you to a point where you are getting yourself rid of those things you can get rid of. And that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, where we are able to distill, setting your priorities, now be able to define between your needs and your wants.
Okay, tell us about needs
and that
wants.
is really a very difficult area, because in our culture we tend to think that everything is a need. And it's very hard to differentiate between a need and a want unless you really reprogram your mind.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the easier way to identify the needs from the want is where you think about it that if I don't have this, would I survive? Right? Okay. if I don't have it, would I survive?
Is relative.
Exactly, yeah, but at least that gives you a basic definition of how to distinguish between wants and needs, right? And so there are certain things that there's also something they also call keeping up with the Joneses.
Oh, of course, of course.
Right?
This is America.
And that is why most of us are not having our financial freedom. Because we want to keep up to the Joneses, to our friends. We want them to see that we have also been here.
We're also there.
And at least we are also doing well, right? and somebody will say, outside gentility, home cry. Right? Yeah.
Wow.
So it's very important we do away with that. And that is why I'm saying, if you have your vision and your goal, then you don't care, because each one has his own vision and goal.
That is true.
And so if I'm working towards then I don't care about what is going on. This person can get his Porsche car today. Maybe he planned and then he saved and he got it, right? I don't have to envy. I don't have to force myself to be like the person and also go and then borrow and buy a big car.
And you can't afford
and
it.
I can't afford it.
Yes.
And I spend my whole life working and you don't even appreciate life.
No,
right?
because you're stressed.
Exactly. So it shouldn't be that. If we really want to find best ways to manage our finances, then these are some of the things we need to get rid of. Set your goal, set your priorities, be able to define your needs from your wants. And then you see that you'll be there. You are gradually upping your game to get to financial freedom.
So Elder, help us out, because I think it's very important as we're thinking as Christians. For me personally, I think it's a very huge challenge in our society when it comes to differentiate the need and the want. Even though you said about it, what will help us? Because sometimes I think we go back and say, okay, we feel like everything is a need. Like you go into your closet, you go grocery shop, whatever you think, everything, I need this, I need that, I need 20 shoes, I need that. How will you help us so that we will be able to think about the process of selecting things based on a want and based on a need?
Right.
To help us to reaffirm our decision when we are making decisions.
Exactly. Yeah, so like I said, if you set your priorities, then you know the things that you really want, right? And then you work towards them. When it comes to distinguish between needs and then wants, once again, let me use this illustration.
Okay.
Look, let's say you need your financial freedom. You have a challenge, keeping up with your bills, right? And then you have a cable TV at home.
Okay.
Right? Just ask yourself, if I do away with cable and I focus on the local channel, what am I going to lose?
Right? What am I going to gain?
Yes.
Exactly. Would I survive? Exactly. Would I survive? And then if you see that after all you can survive, because there were days where you didn't have cables and you made it. You were happy, right? So just think about it. If you are even paying $50 a month for cable, your decision to cut away cable saves you $50, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so that is how you look at it. So take one thing. Let's say clothing.
Of course.
There is a function, and you are like, this one, people will be wearing new clothing.
It's
so I want
convention.
it.
It's
exactly.
a convention.
And then I want
practical application.
Yes.
Moment of truth. Tell us the truth.
Yes. And I want new clothing, right? But the thing is, you are thinking about somebody else looking at you. But
Of
people
course.
don't think about that. They are even look. Sometimes there have been times where, I take a dress to wear, and I'm like, did I wear this thing last 2 weeks, last 2 Sundays? And then my wife don't even remember whether I did wear it or not. Right?
So how about other people? They will not remember.
Yes, so that communicates to me that we always think that people are looking at us and for which we are trying to live to meet the standard, right? Like a benchmark, we are trying to meet the standard. And then we do things beyond our means. And those things come back to haunt us and affect us. But hey, you're going to the house of God. He said, come just as you are. If you go with what you have, would the Holy Ghost not work in you? If God has a package for you, would he say that you have only 2 clothing you wear every day, every other Sunday, so I'm not going to give you what you want? No, not today. Yeah, so that alone could tell you that if you want extra clothing, it could be a want, not really a need. Right?
Because you're not naked.
Exactly. So plan your life and then work towards it. If you think that, hey, I want to get 2 clothing this year, 3 clothing this year, right? It saves you so much, because then you work towards it and say that, hey, this year I'm planning that because I'm managing my finances and I want financial freedom. My plan is that I'm going to get very good clothing, like 2, 3 sets, right? That is your plan. Let's say 2. Looking at your activities for the year, you
One
can
for
decide
Christmas,
on.
one for Easter.
You can decide how many you want, right? And then you work towards it. And then say that, okay, I'm going to save $5 for clothing or whatever, right? And then you plan accordingly. The problem most of us have is that we don't even plan, we don't even budget. We don't think about the resources that come to us and how we utilize those resources. And so it brings us to another danger where we shop or buy on impulse.
Yes.
Right.
You chance into something, and then you're like, this is so appealing.
It's on sale.
This is appealing. And then
It's on sale. That is the
and then
catch-22.
you get it. Even if it's on sale, and you want to go for it, right? If you plan, then you are able to see whatever is on sale and know that this thing, it's something I need because it's something that I regularly use. Right? So how can I adjust my budget to grab this? Right? Because there have been instances where I've been to shops where I see things that we use at home frequently. And I'm like, I could save from this. So why wouldn't I buy like 3 or 4?
Of course, of course.
With the mind, the focus on the differences, the savings I'm making, right? And then I do that, and it all comes back to budgeting. Otherwise, then you see it, and it's not something you need, but because it is cheap, you say, oh, it's on sale, let me go get it. But one of the things we should be careful of is that these people who sell, they are very
tricky.
They are very crafty, right?
Of course.
So sometimes the thing is actually like $5. Then they check the price and say, this is $80. And we are giving you 95% off. So come for it, $5. Psychologically, if you are somebody who is moved to purchase things on impulse, what will happen is that once you see the difference, like, ooh, this thing is, they've cut out this, discounted this thing so much that I need to get it. And then you go get it. And then you don't even use them.
Yeah, you could get something on a Black Friday, thinking you're getting a deal, only to realize that 2 weeks before they increased the price, and then they brought it down. So really, you didn't get a deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If every market is in this, every business is in the business of making money.
Right.
So just remember that, whenever you are doing something, think about your budget as elders and think about also your priorities. And I like the fact about priorities because I want us to talk about, balancing your credit and your expenditure as you talk about it. But I think how priority really plays a factor. And sometimes people think about your credit card bill and your expenditure bill. So let's just say, for instance, if you have a credit card bill and you want to pay it off so your balance will be low, how do you set up your priorities so that you make sure that you hit your target of paying your credit card bill and also paying your loan and also saving money? Because I think sometimes we don't know how to juggle those things.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely one of the things that you should always look at is the interest that is on your credit card, right? You always want to look at what interest am I paying on my credit cards, right? So the one definitely that has the higher interest rate, that should be your focus, right? What you can do is, in fact, if you really want to pay it off, right, you can talk to your bank and say that, hey, can you convert my current balance on my credit card as a loan, to a loan, right? Or can you give me a loan? Once you get the loan, your focus is to pay off the debt, that especially the credit card that has the higher interest rate, right? The reason is that if you take a loan, they structure your payment
differently.
Yes. So your payment is structured. They will say that, okay, this loan we are giving you is for a period of 5 years. Every month, you're going to pay 300 or 200, right? So that disciplines you. It puts some burden on you to make sure you pay. Unlike credit card. Credit card, what will happen is that minimum balance $27, let me pay. Right? And the more you pay the minimum balance, the longer it takes to pay it off.
Of course.
And then the more interest you pay on it, right? So eventually it's like you're working and you're paying off people to chill, right? And then you are struggling. So it is always important to have that at the back of your mind. If you think that, and then that even frees some credit on your credit card, right? Your revolving credit. Because at the end of the day, and I knew last week you talked about it. So what will happen is that if your revolving credit is more, much more, it makes your FICO score higher, right? It makes your credit report scores will come and your credit score is high, right? Because you have enough that you could have spent, but you are not spending. It is there, right? It is revolving. It's there. So one way is to make sure you convert your credit card debt into loan, and then discipline yourself that I'm going to pay this within 5 years. And so once they do that, they structure your payment. Every month, this is how much you're going to pay. It makes it easier for you to get rid of that. So that is one way we can do
That's one way of paying credit. And I like the fact that you said that, but I think it comes down to saying to priority and discipline.
Exactly.
Because if you get a loan and you went back and used a credit card, then now you have a loan and a credit card.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to tell you, moment of truth, if you want to get out of financial debt and you get a loan from the bank, pay off the loan and put the credit card aside.
Exactly.
So that way you get the freedom that you need and the
Exactly.
discipline that you need. So thank you so much for that.
If you don't have, you see, the danger is not for not having a plan, right?
Of course.
If you don't have a plan, that kills your momentum in the first place, right? Because like somebody will say, if you fail to plan, then we are planning to fail. Right? So you don't know where you want to be. And that would cause you to misuse your money and to spend unwisely. And that comes back to bite you. So even if you go for a bank loan and then you free some revolving credit and then you don't discipline yourself and set a goal like you said, and you end up blowing that one too. And then it becomes more burden on you.
Yeah.
So do you think it's important to get credit counseling to balance your income expenses? Because sometimes you say we're going to put a budget, but we feel like we need somebody to help us. So is it good to get a credit counselor to sit down and help you balance your credit and talk about your expenditure? Or do you think it's something that people can do by themselves?
So it depends on your understanding, right? If it is something you can do, then you have to do it. And these days it's easier because once you go online, there are various resources you can see that will help you as to how to plan yourself and budget, right? There are templates that you see. It will tell you that what are your income, right? You put all your income within a month, and then what are your expenditures. So you list all your expenditures, right? And then you look at how much you think you will spend for all those. From the beginning, you just estimate, right? And then as you go through the next month, now try and take the actuals, right? Come and then see that I budgeted $50 for gas. How much did I spend for gas? I spent $120, right? Okay. I budgeted $100 for clothing, but I spent, let's say, $80, right? Okay. I budgeted, let's say, $200 for grocery, but I spent, let's say, $300, right? So once you look at the actuals and then you compare to your estimate and then your true income, it tells you that if you really want to get to your goal, then you need to cut certain things. Otherwise, you can't get there. Right? It's not magic. It's not like you sit down and do everything like you used to do and expect that you can save some. You can save some 5,000 or 500 or even 1,000 somewhere that you can use when you need them. No, you have to sit down, and that comes back to lifestyle changes. You have to cut down certain things, right? And that is changing your lifestyle, letting go of certain things that you think you can let go without really impacting on you anyway. Just cut down on those things so that you can plan the resources towards your goal, right? If you don't have a goal, look, it is always better to have a goal before you get a financial resource, right?
Okay. Yeah. Then when you get it, you know what
it is. If you don't have a goal, an objective or vision, and you get a financial resource, I bet you, it will go. It will just yes, and then it will just go away. Yeah, it will go away in no time. Yes. And there was a research that have been done on people who win lottery.
Of course,
right? And people who win lottery, at the end of the day, most of them come back to their old state
or worse.
Yes, or worse, because they have no goal. And they wanted to win millions and billions. And then the money comes and their mind changes, right? Their mind changes. And then, but if you have a goal before the money comes, you know what to do.
That is so true.
You are not moved by it.
That is so true.
So this template you're talking about that you can find online, it's what? Budget template?
Yeah, so personal budgeting.
Personal budget.
Yeah, so if you go online and you put the template for personal budgeting, it will give you something, or sample of personal budgeting. Yeah, it will give you something.
And other company has like an app that you can pull up.
Exactly.
But definitely personal budget. You can definitely find stuff on the personal budget. That really helps.
And then you also mentioned the credit counseling. Definitely, your bank institution have that facility. You can utilize that facility. You can go make an appointment, talk to an expert. He will look at your expenditure and then help you budget, because that is why they are there, right? And so they will help you budget and tell you that. The challenging thing for most of us is that when we are going, we made up our mind, right? Because an expert will tell you that, hey, looking at your expenditure and your income, you need to change something. Otherwise, you can't survive the next 5 years or 2 years or 3 years, right? But because we don't want to let go certain things that we think the expert would tell us to let go, we don't even want to go and use that resource, right?
I see.
Because we don't want to change. And if you don't want to change, you can have your financial freedom.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
Okay.
Most institutions have it for free.
Exactly.
So, Moment of Truth, we are talking about ways to get that financial freedom that everybody wants. It takes work. It really takes somebody sitting down with you and really helping you. And we're saying that our institution, our banks have those counseling services that they can give you for free. They have classes that they do also that could help you to also balance your budget or work out a budget plan that will help you. So thank you so much, Albert.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk about bankruptcy. What's it about? What does it mean? Like.
All right. So, on a high level, bankruptcy is where you think that you are in a position where you can't service your debt, right? And so you go and file for bankruptcy. But it's not something by word of mouth. That you say, hey, I'm bankrupt, and then your creditors will not come to you.
They will not come to you. You have to go there.
That is not how it works. How it works is that you have to, normally we use an attorney. It is the court that will declare bankruptcy, will declare
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not something that you can just say, hey, I can't pay all my debts.
So this is Moment of Truth. You personally cannot say you are bankrupt, so you are not paying your bills. An attorney have to do that. Okay.
Yes, so you have to go to the court. Yeah, you have to go to the court. They'll look at your situation, and then they will say, hey, we give you bankruptcy, or we have granted your filing for bankruptcy. And there are various different types. There are some for individuals, some for business. And so if you look at it as chapter 11, chapter 13, and all those type of bankruptcy. But definitely it's something that court grants. It's not like you chilling and blowing all your money and your resources, and then when the debts are coming for you, then you say, hey, I'm bankrupt.
So you file and it will be approved or disapproved?
Yeah, you file and to be approved or disapproved. And when it's approved, then what will happen is that it tells anyone you own that, hey, I'm bankrupt. So you don't. So that if you have that, then they can come to you and demand that you pay them your debt, right? So that is bankruptcy. But don't forget, it also has a consequence. It goes on your credit record that you have filed for bankruptcy before, and definitely every lender
will stay off you
would
too.
stay off you. Yeah.
And it stay on your credit report for 7 years?
I'm not sure about how long you say, but definitely there is a time period that it will stay on. Yeah. But it also depends on how soon you are able to come out of it. Because if you file for bankruptcy and it's granted, you are until you go back and you are able to prove that you are coming out of it, right?
Really?
If you have to come out of bankruptcy. If you don't come
so
out
you stay bankrupt.
So you don't stay
how
forever.
That goes. How does that
No, but
go?
you can stay in bankruptcy forever.
No, but like, how do you come out of it?
Yeah, so how you come out of it is there are so many things that adds up, right? It could be that, hey, I decided that I filed for bankruptcy because I don't have the resources to pay all of you, right? And so what I have, I'm just going to put myself together, right? So at the point you're able to put yourself together, and then you regain your financial strength, right, abilities, and so you can go and pull yourself out of bankruptcy.
You file again.
Yeah, you file again, and then you are
Okay.
able to show that, hey, you are out of bankruptcy. Because otherwise, then how would the period for which you are, I mean, it's on your credit record. When would it start counting?
Okay. Okay. So there's a policy and there's a protocol in place when it comes to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So before you file, please talk to your lawyers and know what is expected.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get this misinformation, and so people say, oh, you file for bankruptcy and then you go to Ghana. And then you stay in Ghana until they get off your credit card. Then you come back again. So people thinking is it will fall off automatically, but you have to go and do something to make it.
Yeah, as long as you file for it, you are bankrupt. So your debtors are just at the door. They can't come to you because you are filed for bankruptcy. Yeah, it is different when you are filed for it and you collapse, right? Then, like especially institutions where the institution is no more, right? It's dead. That is the other one. It's fine. The institution is dead. for individual, you want to make sure that you are able to come out of it because your situation has not changed.
Okay.
Right? Your situation has not changed. If you haven't worked yourself out to bail yourself out, the situation has not changed. You are still not credit worthy. So who should come and then give you? So why would I give you money when I know that you are far bound for bankruptcy, and then I know that if I give you, I can.
You can't collect it back.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah. So those are some of the things that are there so that people don't take advantage of the system and then go and do whatever they want to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was one thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to the financial resources, where, see, there's an aspect of the Bible that says that two are better than one, right? So as much as possible, if you are couples, if you are able to put your resources together, it's better than individual doing their own thing, right? And most couples who don't plan together, they have that challenge because at the end of the day, you'll be doing, one person will be doing her own thing, the other person will be doing his own thing, right? It doesn't really help. Meanwhile, when you put your resources together, it makes it more. You can do better things, right? You can plan it and then do better things. So if we want to come out of our financial, we want to be financially free, these are some of the things that we should look at, right? So that at least it minimizes duplication, it put your effort together so that you work towards where you want to be, right? In 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. Look, there are so many things we want to do. Apart from short term, maybe you are thinking about vacation. Even there are some of the vacation could even be long term, right? You are thinking about maybe your kids' college or education, right? You are thinking about you yourself, maybe your retirement, right? And all those things. So you put all them together, you plan. And once you put them together, then you put your resources together. Then you are able to allocate, right, based on your priorities, right? You allocate. And that is what God wants us to do as believers, right? He wants us to do that as believers, where that's why I say two are better than one, right? Otherwise, we'll all be doing our own thing, and then we'll be overspending. Each other will be overspending. And then, because you buy something for the kids, and then the other person who, like, let's say one partner buys, the other partner doesn't want to feel like it's a case thing that the other partner is buying, and
so
you also go and buy. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really help, right? But you plan together and say, hey, it's our kid's birthday next week. What do we do together? Then you plan, okay, let's buy this. It's your resources. You pull together and then get it done. So, yes, that is an advice I'm giving to couples. As much as possible, if you can, it is very helpful. Yeah, but most of the time, everybody have their own financial, like their focus, and it brings a lot of confusion when it comes to the issue of money. But it shouldn't, as believers, because as Christians, our benchmark is the Bible. And so you want to use the Bible to really think together, plan together. There should be that oneness in our union. Yeah.
Amen. I like that. So we talk about bankruptcy. I also want to talk about foreclosure. Because, people, their dream, I'm going the negative before the positive, but people always want to buy a house. And then you buy this house, and then you can't pay for it. And then the bank say, we are going to foreclose on your house. How do we go about it from being so happy with your house now, being so sad about your house?
Yeah, so like I said, it always come back to financial management, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. And the scripture we read, it says that who will build a house without first counting the cost, right? Most people will want to say, hey, I want a big house. Look, I want a house like this person. Because you think that you are keeping up with them, right? But that shouldn't be the case. Look, that's what I'm saying. It comes back to what do you plan to achieve, your long-term objective and your short-term. What do you plan to achieve? If you plan that this is where you want to be, right, then you work towards it. You don't think that, hey, I need a 13-bedroom, 5-bedroom, whatever. When you think that your resources will not be able to cater for it, right? So you shouldn't do that in the first place. Go for something within your means. Hey, after all, you have a shelter. You have a place to lay your head. You are able to take care of your family, right? You are not homeless, right? So don't think about something that is beyond your means. Sometimes, in quote, people always see that as faith, right? Faith. I mean, by faith, faith. But faith does not deny the reality. right?
No, it does not.
It doesn't deny the reality. And God expects us to plan, right? He himself is a God that plans. He planned what he would do day one, plan what he would do day two, he planned what he would do day three. At the end of the day, he sat down and said, this is good, right? Because he had defined what he wanted to do. He did it, and he looked good. Until we do that, then we'll be comparing ourselves to people, and then we want to keep up with them. And then we take things that are beyond us. And at the end of the day, we can't keep up. And when you can't keep up, the bank will come after you, right? And then they say, hey, we are using some other people's money to do business, right? And so we can't accumulate the money with you and we can't get it back. And how do we pay those people if we want to come for their money? So what would they do? They'll go to the court and then get whatever authority they have and come and foreclose your house. But it all comes back to lifestyle, how we manage ourselves and live within our means.
Can we explain to our viewers what foreclosure actually means? Maybe somebody doesn't know what foreclosure is. You
are not able to pay your mortgage, right? You are not able to pay your mortgage, and then after a while, they think that there's no way you can pay your mortgage. So they are going to, they're coming for the house. So they go to court, and then they give them the authority to come. Yeah, they come and then they'll come and pack everything out.
Put it in the trash. Or dump it outside. People come and take it. And because the reason why I'm saying that is that everybody have their dream to buy a house. It is in the heart and the desires of every family.
The American dream.
House. The American dream. And I just want us to face the reality that if you're going to buy a house, you really need to sit down and think about it. Because one of the statistics talk about the fact that your house shouldn't be more than 50% of your income. You know, some people buy a house and it's 75% of their income. So that, just imagine, it doesn't give you enough room to do anything at all. So at the end of the day, you are just paying the mortgage. You can't do maintenance. You can't do nothing. And that is frustrating to me. So moment of truth. Remember that if you buy a house, you have to be able to afford it. So that way, your dream doesn't become a nightmare.
Exactly. You know. And our culture also plays a role.
Oh, okay.
Right. Our culture makes us feel like we value property like a house.
True.
And so the bigger it is, we think the better. And so people even, I visited someone who had come on retirement. Now look at the person's property, how big it is and all those things. And I'm like, no, why would you do this when you're on retirement, right? You live in a house where you are there, maybe you and your wife. It's a big house, multiple bedrooms.
Empty.
Exactly. And then you think about how you're going to maintain the house, how you're going to service if there is snow, plowing those snow, giving contracts, your lawn, and all those things, right? It becomes a challenge. And sometimes at that age, you can't do it by yourself, right? So I just asked myself, would it have been nice for this person to rather have gone for a condominium, right? Where you know that you don't have even burden of if there is snow or something, go and plow because it is part of the package, right? And old man and old lady can enjoy their life, right? But we don't look at it that culturally we think that people come to your house and say that they see how big your house is and they say, oh, you have made it, right? We have made it. So we have equated blessings and how we have made it to the size of our property, right? Which shouldn't be the case. Right?
I think the Bible is even against that.
Exactly.
Exactly. That. So talking about the foreclosure then makes me think about investment types. So can you talk about investments, Airbnb, anything? Like you said, somebody has a big house and is living in there alone. Or before you get a big house, any kind of investments you want to talk about. Why is it that we don't invest? Because mostly we think it's because we don't have money. But don't we have other things that we can invest in? Like the way you were talking about empty rooms in the house.
Exactly. So the starting point is, it comes back to savings, right? Which I hesitate to talk about savings because next week I think that will be the discussion.
No,
right?
Go ahead.
But at least,
yes,
at least, the starting point is where you want to start the habit of putting something aside, right? So once you put something aside, it could be on your savings income, your savings account, right, where you gain some interest. Normally, the interest is not much.
It's not much.
Yeah.
You don't even get 1% right
exactly.
now.
If you look at how much they take from us when we go for loans,
yes,
and how much they give us if we deposit our income with them,
you will cry.
yes, you see
Moment
that.
of truth.
Yeah,
Yes, you cry. Believe me, you cry.
yes, you see that the gap is big,
It
right?
is very big.
But the good thing about you putting something even in your savings is that it gives you the opportunity to know that you have something you can count on when you are in emergency or when it becomes critical, right? So that is one. The other thing is there are various investments, which definitely once again, when you go to the banks or your financial institution and tell them what your goal is, right? Because when you go there without a goal, it's difficult for them to know how to help you.
That's
right?
true.
If you go there and say that my goal is to invest, put some money aside, and my focus is to invest towards my children's education, they know how to counsel you. My focus is to buy a property. They know how to counsel you. My focus is to save for retirement.
Yep.
They know how to focus
Counsel
you,
you.
right? Because once they know the objective or the goal for which you want to invest, then they will be able to then know that your focus for investment is long-term or short-term, right? And then if it's long-term or short-term, then they can advise you as to which avenues you can put your money. But they also come back to the fact that your ability to take risk. How much risk are you willing to take, right? Because the rate of return, which is the interest that comes to us based on our investment, is always based on risk. The higher the risk, the expectation for return is higher, right? The lower the risk. So that's why if you buy like treasury bill, you normally will not get much
On it, in
than,
terms of interest.
yes, than investing in stocks, right? Because stocks is expected that it's a risky thing. You can lose it, you can gain, right? So those are the areas you can really invest. But it all boils down to the counsel you have. There are some of them that you yourself can trade online. You can go online and say, I want to invest in some stock. Read about it. Once you read, you get some knowledge, and then you can decide to play the game, and then try and buy and sell, and then see what it is. But definitely there are institutions that would counsel you, looking at your interests and your objective, to tell you that, okay, these are the options that are available. There are mutual fund. Mutual fund will say, okay, let's put some money in mutual fund, right? And then mostly they will advise you not to put they'll say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So they say, let's put some in stock, let's put some here, let's put some there. So those are some of the investments you can do.
Diversify your
Exactly. If you have the opportunity to do like this 401k and the rest, that is also good, because some of them comes with tax exemptions, right? And then it can help you build, then save on your taxable income for a particular year, and then you can make some gains.
And that is really important, as we're talking about overview of spending. I think one of the hardest things most people don't realize is that every institution should have a 401k or may have a 401k, but we never ask. And then when they tell you what is a 401k, we don't even want to ask questions.
Exactly.
We just said they're going to take money. I don't want them to take money.
Exactly.
So, in terms of financial freedom, think about it, because some of the 401k, they match it. So let's just say your company said, if you put 7%, we'll give you 7%.
Exactly.
That is 14% of money that is non-taxable that you can save towards your retirement. And, if you're having a financial difficulty, they will give you the money as a loan without paying interest on it. So think about it. This is part of building your financial freedom by knowing what are some of the resources that is available to you to help you to achieve that financial freedom.
Exactly.
So moment of truth. Take a step into your financial institution. Take a step into your bank. You think you don't have money to save, but go listen to how they can help you with your budget to get the money for investment. Go and see what you get out of it. You will not get anything out of it if you don't go, right? But if you go, then you know what to plan towards. So just go there and ask. You'll be surprised what you find. And let us know what you found.
Yes,
on Facebook.
tell us about it, because we really want people to have financial freedom. I talk about foreclosure before I talk about buying a house, because I think it comes back to reusable mortgage. That's something what somebody is understanding. Reusable mortgage is something that you are aware of it, or something that you know that is going on. Not
very familiar with that terrain, but I think that I'll take, I mean, I'll take a stab at it. Yeah. So it's more like where so in the mortgage industry, there are instances where you have one mortgage, you can use that as a leverage for another one, right? Okay. That opportunity is there. It could be more like investment where you build on your equity and you use your equity to finance another property. It normally will be maybe you are putting it as a collateral or something, right? Okay. So that aspect is there. I'm not sure if that is what it is, but yeah.
Because we're trying to make sure that our audience understand that, resources are available. Sometimes it's not just the money that you have in the cash that you have at hand, but you have some other things that you can do to invest towards the future. So don't sit back and say, well, I have no money, I can't save anything. You can save something, and whatever you have as resources can be reused to make more money for you or give you the financial freedom that you need. So that way you will leave a legacy for your children. Because I think most
times, legacy of debt, though.
No, not a legacy. Because most times, as Christian, we live the legacy of having faith in God, trusting God. But when it comes to financial freedom, we don't tend to leave that legacy for our children. And I really want us to pray that God give us the wisdom and the insight so that we can do that. We can do better. We can do better than our parents on our behalf.
Yeah. So the thing is, you ask yourself, if I go to pray to God, that God, I want a financial breakthrough, I want a financial blessing, what am I expecting?
That's true.
Right? What am I expecting? Definitely, I don't expect that God will throw some money to me, right?
Some people may, but moment you're true, that is not how it works.
Exactly, right? So definitely, God gives you the resources, and He expects you to manage the resources as expected, right? Within your means, right? And that is what He expects. When you look at those story about this 3 guys that got a talent.
Yes.
Like one got 1, the other got 2, the other got 5, and then the 2 and the 5 went to work hard, right? They put themselves together. They make sure that they put their resources together. They were able to gain. The other person just think that, hey, I'm okay with this, right? They went, what is this, right? Now, at the end of the day, when the boss or the master came, he said, look, you have not done good. You could have at least put the money in what? In a bank. I would have gained some interest, right? So God expects us that as we come to Him to pray for financial freedom, He gives us direction, and we need to act.
Of course.
Right? He will tell you that, hey, you are shopping too much. That is what the Holy Spirit will tell you. You are shopping too much. Cut down your shopping. And then once you cut it down, you can get some money for something else, right? Or let's say you're going to do something, and they tell you that, no, don't put your money in there. Just get out. You hear the Holy Spirit. That gives you financial freedom, because then you're able to let go certain things. You're able to put your resources together, and then you're able to achieve your goal. Otherwise, anything goes, right? I did my doctorate and I paid out of pocket. I didn't take student loan.
Wow, that is wonderful.
It was a big sacrifice. It's like you get the money and you are paying.
Yes.
You get the money and you're paying. And after that, we decided to let my wife take her master's. And we said, no, we're not going to take student loan. We're going to pay. And we use the payment plan, right? That one I even have the final 2 to pay.
And she's graduating this May.
Yeah, she's graduating May.
Congratulations.
Right, exactly. So you see that we put our resources and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take like a financial plan from the school and say that every month this is how. So once you register, we take a financial plan, say every month we'll pay this, right? And we're able to do it. And we are done, right? You are done. And so, and we are not going, she's not graduating with any student loan, right? So if you can plan towards it, why not? I mean, just do it so that it frees yourself, from any challenge where you have to pay multiple interest rates, because it all counts, right? It all counts. If your interest rate is like 100 or more every month, just think about it. It's compounding, and it's compound interest. It's not simple interest, compound interest. Right. It always comes back on you. So, and we have to do that because we cut down certain things. I mean, we will barely even go for shop. We focus, we will go at the right time, we'll plan, and I'm glad they were all cooperative, that we decided that this is what we want to do, and we cut down certain things. But at least we know that we are there, right? And we take the next step and take the next step. That's it.
It's awesome. You're talking about student loan. So can you talk a little bit about managing student loans?
If you already have
one.
Moment
How
or
do you
two.
manage
If you didn't do what elder did and the
you
wife
do
did,
have
and you already have the
student's
loan,
how do you manage?
go about managing
Yeah,
the
so
loan?
it's like you manage it like all your debt, right? Look at the interest that is coming on your student loan, and then have a plan how you want to pay it, right? Make a plan that I want to get rid of this thing, and then work towards it. So once you budget, you are able to know that if I'm able to cut down this lifestyle, I'm able to save like $200 or $500. I'm going to put that money to pay part of my student loan, right? You must have a plan towards it. If you don't have a plan, there's no way you can get paid.
That's
right?
so true. That is
You
so
must
true.
first have a plan towards it that this year, this is my target. You see, always, that's why I said, set your priority. This is my target. The next 5 years, I want to get rid of my credit card. I want to get rid of my student loan. I want to get rid of this, right? So that is your objective. So every resource you get, you are going. Anything you are cutting, you are focusing the gains or whatever, the resources towards that to get rid of it. Once you get rid of it, you can jump to another thing. The worst thing is not having any plan towards your financial freedom. Then you will be there forever. And you will always be under stress.
I see.
Yeah. And if you're paying student loan, the interest on the student loan, you file it on your taxes so you get it back. So look into that. Whoever files your taxes for you, you need to let them know that you have student loan, and you receive a letter about the interest, and you get that back.
But
Make sure you do.
But pay it off quickly.
Quickly as possible.
Don't say because you have a tax bracket, because a year will come and
when
you don't have
taken
the break.
off.
Yes, so please.
Actually, even that, you see, it's not like what you pay as interest what you are getting back.
No.
It only comes in to reduce your taxable income.
Right.
That's all. Like, and so if there's no way, if I pay IRS $1,000, there's no way I'll get a refund of $1,001.
No.
Right? You can only, the max is to get the 1,000 back, right? So the interest you pay and all those things, they all come to add up to cut down on your taxable income, right? So that at least it makes your income that is taxed lesser than her. So depending on which bracket you fall in. But at the end of the day, it's having a plan that I want to get rid of this and then take the steps to get rid of it. Otherwise, it will still remain.
Okay, so our time is up, and we have had so much fun just really talking. I personally know that having that financial freedom is definitely my goal, and I'm hoping that as you're watching the program, is also your goal, because financial freedom is definitely something that God wants for all His children.
Exactly.
So we really want you to have it. So as you're putting our program to an end, Elder, do you have anything that you want our viewers to know, like your last minute piece of information that you want people to know?
Yes. So, like I would say again, as a summary of what we have discussed, please go back and sit down and ask yourself, what is your long-term and your short-term goals when it comes to the issue of finances, and you willing to have a financial freedom? What is your objective? Once you set that, set priorities, now sit down and ask yourself, what are the things that I can cut, get rid of, to be able to save something towards this objective? Once you're able to do that, it brings you to a place where you don't even want to compare yourself to people, because you know that there is a focus, there is a plan you are working towards. And once you do that, you fulfill scripture in terms of you being a good steward of whatever resources, especially financial resources that God has given us. Otherwise, we'll waste it, we'll keep praying, things will not change, because if we get direction as to let go certain things so that we can have financial freedom, we won't be willing to do that, and it will always come back to beat up on us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Elder Dr. Labi Mensah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, because we learned so much about our financial freedom and how we can achieve that. Yeah. So,
thank you very much for hanging out with us one more time. It's always good to have you, and we look forward to having you some more
it's definitely
in the
resource
future.
For the
church.
Yes,
yes, you're really, really a good resource. God bless you. Thanks to our viewers. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for your comments. We see your comments in here. Keep sending us your comments. Also, next month we'll be talking about careers, so you can send us Facebook comments on what kind of careers you are interested in us talking about, or bringing people in to talk about. Thanks also to our producer, Elder Richard Esifi. Tomorrow is his birthday.
Yes,
Happy birthday in advance.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to our technicians, Mr. Nkansa and Mr. Sean. And thanks also to all our sponsors. We thank El Shaddai International Market. It's on the screen. Telephone 240-528-0076. Please sponsor us, and we will let the whole world know that you're sponsoring us.
That is so true.
We are looking for more sponsors. Thank you very much, El Shaddai. Thanks also to our Sean Collections. Number is 02435-48925. Call them for all your electronic wares, anything electronic that you need. Ashon Collections is the name. Thanks to Lean on Jesus Foundation and Ministries for everything, for your support, and we look forward to working more with all of our sponsors. God bless you.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yes, so remember this week is Easter Convention. The 19th to the 21st, we are going to be in Alexandria, Virginia. So we will encourage everybody. So we're not going to be meeting in the church here. We're going to be in Virginia for the convention. And of course, if you want more information, you can go to our website. We'll put it on our website. And we also want to thank our National Head Apostle, Marku, our Regional Head Apostle, Semno, and of course, our District Pastor, Apostle Pastor Evans Barton, and the wife. And we also want to thank
You'll soon be an apostle, so you are just prophesying.
Amen. So we're prophesying, and everybody watching, just remember to pray for him and the family. So we also want to thank our elder for being such a wonderful guest. We really appreciate having you here on the program.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for watching, and happy Easter to everyone.
Yeah, happy
Enjoy.
Easter.
Yes.
Happy Easter.